as I mentioned, like the last couple of years, like perimenopause and menopause have just been like much more front and center, which is great.
Hmm.
Part of that is like we're all just getting a little older, and I've trained people for a long time. And it's like, oh, we're going through this, and like the old stuff stopped working, and now we're doing new things. Both from an and it's fascinating from an exercise perspective. Like clients, I'll use one as an example. I've trained for like 8 years. Used to teach group fitness. We trained forever, and we could do like like always lifting heavy, but not like crazy heavy, and doing lots of cardio, like spin classes and running and tennis and da, 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 da. And now, because things, she would keep continuing doing the old things weren't working, and she was getting frustrated. And so we read Stacey Sims' book. She wrote a book about like how women should lift, right? And like lift
Hmm.
really, really heavy. And like we completely like dug into all the new content and new information coming out from doctors about like doctors who are studying exercise specifically and what and how to change their program. And it's fascinating. It's great. And it's working, which is so cool. But
Yeah.
I'm less knowledgeable about like the unique challenges that population face from a nutrition perspective, or if there are any, if it still is kind of like business as usual. If there's any like sort of top of mind things that come to mind, like, oh, this is a big issue with nutrition and women, going into perimenopause.
I really think with this topic, nutrition and fitness I mean, they're so connected, and they always are in every human body, right? But especially with menopause and perimenopause, because we need the metabolism to be functioning at its absolute best. And that's where people often struggle during this phase. That everything goes kind of haywire. And if you are not adequately muscled, it just makes things 10 times harder. So there has to be that fitness piece. And if we're talking about supporting muscle mass and lean tissue in general, the nutrition side of that is optimizing your macronutrients, making sure that you're getting adequate calories, adequate protein, and making sure that the other two macros are balanced. And of course, looking at all the other, aspects from a nutrition standpoint as well. But where I see a lot of women struggling is that they're noticing that their body is changing. They're noticing that they're accumulating body fat. And so they start to cut their calories, and they cut them down and they cut them down and they cut them down. And then they basically they're up against the wall. We can't go any lower because that would be unhealthy, but they're not losing weight anymore. And so their bodies are in essentially like a fight or flight mode because they're inadequately nourished, they're exercising really hard, and they're not seeing any results. And they're frustrated. And for a lot of people, for a lot of women who are in this stage, I have to convince them to eat more. That is like, yes, it's like you have to be fully nourished for your body to be functioning at its best. And you're putting in all this work at the gym and you're not reaping any of the benefits because you're not nourished. You have to increase your nutrition. And that is where sometimes it's just hard for people to wrap their mind around, like, wait, but I'm trying to lose weight and you're telling me to eat more food. And I'm like, yes, please trust me. And so that's a big piece of